Hello, and welcome to Modern Skills in English. Today, we're talking about a quiet crisis that many students face. It's that terrifying feeling you get when you realize you might have chosen the wrong major.
I feel sick just hearing you say it. It's like this secret I can't tell anyone. I'm 2 years into a business degree, and every morning I wake up thinking about my classes, and my stomach just drops. But what can I do? It feels like my life is already decided for me. I'm on a train and I can't get off.
That feeling of being trapped is incredibly powerful, and most students think the problem is the choice they made 2 years ago. But what if the real problem isn't the path you're on? What if the real trap is the belief that it's too late to change?
But it is too late. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've spent 2 years of my life. My parents are so proud. If I change now, all of that is just gone, wasted. It would be a huge failure.
That's the first and most common way we get stuck. We look at the time and money we've already spent, and we think we have to keep going to justify it. It feels like common sense. We think, I've already invested so much, I can't quit now.
Exactly. It would be like running half a marathon and then just walking off the course. All that effort for nothing.
But what if the marathon is heading towards a place you don't want to be? Is it better to finish the race in the wrong city just because you started running? The time you spent wasn't wasted. It was an investment in a very important experiment, and that experiment gave you a clear result. This is not the right path for you. The most courageous thing you can do is to acknowledge that result.
Acknowledge it as what? A huge mistake?
As data, as information. You didn't fail. You learned something critical about yourself. You ran a 2-year test, and now you know what you don't want. That's more valuable than graduating with a degree that makes you miserable. Continuing for 2 more years just because of the first 2, that would be the real waste.
I've never thought of it as data. It always just felt like a bad decision I was stuck with. But even if I accept that, what about my family? They were so happy when I got into the business school. My dad tells everyone his son is studying finance. If I tell him I want to switch to, I don't even know what, he'll be so disappointed.
The fear of letting others down is maybe the heaviest weight of all. Many students make their initial choice based on what they think will make their parents happy or proud. It comes from a good place. We want their approval.
Yes, and I feel like I made a promise to them and to myself. I made a commitment to this path. I can't just break it.
Let's look at that word. A commitment is a promise, that's true. But a healthy commitment is based on a clear understanding. When you were 18, you made the best decision you could with the information you had. Now you have new information. The situation has changed. A wise commitment isn't one that never changes. It's one that adapts to new, better information. Your first duty is not to an old decision, but to your own future.
So I should just tell them their dream for me is wrong? That sounds so confrontational.
It's not about telling them they're wrong. It's about showing them you have a rational process. Imagine 2 conversations. In the first, you say, I hate business, I quit. They will hear panic. They will hear confusion. But in the second conversation, you say, I've learned a lot in my business courses, especially that my real strengths are in creative problem solving. I've been researching programs in industrial design, and I've already spoken to a professor. Here's a plan for how I could make the switch. Which conversation do you think they would respond to better?
The second one, obviously. It sounds like I actually know what I'm doing. But that's the thing, Sarah, I don't. I just know I don't like this. I have no idea what else I would do. The unknown is even scarier than my finance textbook. It feels safer to just stay here.
And we arrive at the third great wall, the fear of the blank page. The current path is clear, even if it's painful. The alternative is just a fog. And so we hesitate. Most students think the choice is between my current major and another perfect major. That's too much pressure. It forces you into paralysis. The goal isn't to make another huge 4-year decision today. The goal is simply to gather more data, to make the fog a little bit clearer.
How? By looking at the university course catalog? It's 1,000 pages long. That just makes me more anxious.
No, not by looking at a list. By running small, low-risk experiments. Let's say you have a small interest in psychology. You don't need to change your major tomorrow. First, just watch a few online lectures from a top professor. Does it hold your interest? If yes, the next experiment is to have a coffee with one senior psychology student. Ask them what they love and what they hate about it. If that goes well, The next experiment is to take one introductory psychology class as an elective next semester. See? You're not making one giant scary decision. You're taking small, safe steps to see if the path is viable.
So each step just gives me a little more information. An experiment, like my first 2 years of business school were an experiment.
Exactly. If you take that psychology class and hate it, what have you lost? Almost nothing. But you've gained valuable data. You've learned that's not the path either. You cross it off the list and test something else. You are slowly, intelligently finding your way.
This all sounds good in theory, Sarah. It makes sense. But I know people who switched majors, and they just ended up more confused and even more behind. They panicked, jumped into something else, and it was the same problem all over again. What if I just make another wrong choice?
That is an excellent point, and it's what stops most people even after they understand the logic. They fear repeating the same pattern. But the risk of that happening is high only if you treat it as another big emotional guess. The students who get lost are the ones who jump from one commitment to another without a process. They leap from the burning building without checking where they will land.
So how do I avoid that?
By building a system. The system connects everything we've talked about. It's about moving from an emotional reaction to a rational process. First, you acknowledge the truth without judgment. The data from your 2-year experiment says, this isn't working. You accept that. Second, you analyze your motivations. You ask, whose decision is this? And you separate your own interests from your parents' hopes. You prepare to make a new, authentic commitment. Third, you don't jump. You explore. You run those small, low-risk experiments to find a viable alternative. You test, you learn, you gather data.
So the purpose of the experiments isn't just to find the right major. It's to build confidence in the new choice. So when I finally make the change, it's not a guess anymore.
Precisely. It's a conclusion based on evidence. You can stand on it. You can explain it to your parents. You will feel the solid ground beneath your feet. You won't hesitate because you'll be moving towards something you understand, not just running away from something you dislike.
It's still a scary thought, the whole process, but I can see how that would work. I guess I've been thinking about this as one giant decision, a big yes or no moment, but it's not.
It's a series of small questions, small explorations. The pressure comes from thinking you need the final answer right now. You don't. You only need the answer to the very next small question. Can I find one person to talk to about a different subject? Can I watch one documentary? Can I try one weekend project?
And I need to acknowledge that the time I spent wasn't a waste. That's the hardest part, I think. It feels like a failure.
Every scientist whose experiment fails has learned something. They are now closer to the truth. You've successfully discovered a path that is not for you. Many people don't discover that until 10 years after they graduate when they have a mortgage and a family. You've learned this lesson early. It's not a failure. It's an advantage.
An advantage? That's a very different way to see it. It's not about having the right answer from the start. It's about being able to correct the course along the way. I feel lighter. Not solved, but lighter. I don't have to keep pretending to like my classes. My first step is just to accept that it's okay that I don't.
Exactly. That is the first step, and often it is the most important one. Hello, everyone listening. We hope this was helpful. If this conversation brought up something for you, we'd be interested to know what other big student decisions you'd like us to explore. Please let us know in the comments below.